VA, and we had the latest and greatest in hearing aid technologies. The manufacturers came to us wanting us to use their best products, and they bid for contracts. And guess what? Complaints. With the best technology, with the best education, most of the time it was very disappointing for me because these men did not want to wear their hearing aids and they became withdrawn. They did not want to wear their hearing aids because they felt that they were uncomfortable in noise. It wasn't even a vanity aspect. They were there, they came this far, they wanted to please their wives, they wanted to please their families, they wanted to hear, but they were uncomfortable. Their inner ear hair cells were wiped out, and we can amplify soft sounds, but if anything loud got amplified, you know, the dishes, just even papers rustling. So even in the quiet of your own home, it was difficult to make speech sounds articulate so you could understand speech. You know, Sadie sells seashells by the seashore. It's the S's and the F's and the TH. And so very early on, I was driven to say, okay, the doctor can't do any more. He's telling these men, you know, there's nothing more we can do for your hearing loss. They're ringing in their ear, they're becoming withdrawn. I've got to focus on the technologies, the hearing aid technology. So after that experience, I found myself in Sydney, Australia, and I was the head of the Department of Audiology in St. Vincent's Hospital, and I thought, oh, I'm not qualified. Well, I was. The woman who hired me because she was on maternity leave said, you have more education than we have in Australia, you'll do fine. Well, I did do fine. All of that experience in the VA and my hands-on experience with hearing aids came in very handy, and I did just fine. And I worked with a lot of people, again, with the early digital behind-the-ear hearing aids. In Australia, there's socialized medicine. And again, in the VA, hearing aids are paid for. So even when people weren't, yes?
You're in front of the box.
Am I by the box? Sorry. Even when hearing aids were free, and socialized medicine, men and women both were getting their hearing aid technology for free, there were a lot of complaints, okay? But I'm not hearing that anymore. I'm not hearing that anymore. The hearing aids, manufacturers now, when they're honest, will say that the sound processing in Sadie's hearing aid and this last platform within the 7-year period, let's call it, is about as good as it's going to get. In other words, hearing aids are designed, give me your hand, shake my hand, to work at about a handshake distance away. Okay, so you think about a 6-foot radius. That's the focal point of the microphones for the hearing aids. Again, not that hard to do if it's quiet. But if it's break time and everybody starts having their own individual conversations, even within this 6-foot space, there's a lot of background noise. So now the technology is all moving in the direction, what can we do in addition to those microphones, whether there's, because the little ones are still available in the canal, or up here, whether the microphone is somewhere in your ear or on your head. We need a second microphone, has been the biggest introduction. So it's the signal to noise ratio. The reason that you're hearing me through the T-coil right now is because this microphone is next to my mouth, okay? And so Sherry, who's probably, not to put her on the spot, got the worst hearing in the room without her implant. But she can hear and understand me as if she was right next to me. And that's because my voice is going from this microphone to the loop that's hidden in the perimeter and then into the T-coil of her hearing aid. So it's improving what she could do with her cochlear implant and her hearing aid alone. And these improvements come when they are needed when there's great distance, when you're outside of that 6-foot radius. Why is that? Audibility goes down, and more important, the visual clues. okay? Whenever I get further away or I don't look at you, I could be within the 6-foot radius and turn my back on you, and immediately, everyone in this room knows that. And so it's to improve the signal to noise ratio. And it's the same concept when you plug in a little base to the back of your TV, and it changes Leo said, oh, some people think it's hard to do. It's one chord. It's not hard to do, and it changes the sound source to a Bluetooth ray. And another beautiful thing, I believe, about this technological race and the technological advancements is the Bluetooth really is not expensive. Compared to what hearing aids have cost me and cost you over the years, this additional price with this Bluetooth has not been a deal breaker for people. The idea of transmitting sound through a microphone is not new. We've had FM, kids in the school, we've had that a long time. Certain movie theaters are looped with FM, but the receiving end is very expensive in FM technology. If you want a personal receiver, it can be an additional $2,000 to your already cost of your hearing aids, where the Bluetooth technology for the equivalent would be about $500. So the Bluetooth has allowed this wireless streaming to be more accessible. It's not that it's necessarily better than FM or some of the technologies that may have been around longer, again, the T-coil, but it's accessibility. This Bluetooth has allowed it to be one-on-one for you in your personal life. Okay, so I think now I've brought you up to date. I'd be happy to take questions, but then I'm going to put a few of you on the spot, if you don't mind, and again, get some testimonials. I'm not trying to make anybody look bad. I want to do the opposite. I just want to bring the perspective up to date. And I believe you can help me. I believe the fact that the comment that people have nothing to do but complain about their hearing aids is an outdated complaint. And let's hear what you might have to say. It's something sweet for the topic on Valentine's Day, okay? So does anyone want to ask me a question first, or do you want to jump right in with nice things to say? Okay, what's your question?
What's the range for the Bluetooth
Good.
From if you're watching television to where you can receive it?
Great question. Okay, so what is the range of the Bluetooth? Is within 30 feet is the estimate. And I've had people with, 2-level homes and upstairs and downstairs, and it will break up. It's not perfect, but it works really well within 30 feet. Mm-hmm. Okay, yes.
This is a very ignorant question. I've never heard Bluetooth expression until I came to these meetings. I have both of my in the loop. Do I have Bluetooth?
Yes, you do. You do. You have the double, the best of the old and the best of the new in what you're. And a clue with the Bluetooth is: are you receiving a signal from a distance to your hearing aid? So right here, it tells me you have the Bluetooth, because this is what's called a lapel microphone. And if I was, she doesn't need it in this room because it's overkill. We have the T-coil on. And so there is overlap. Some people have the T-coil in their home for their TV. They don't need the Bluetooth. So there are certain situations where there's overlap. But if we were out to lunch, or I'll put Arlene on the spot, we were out to dinner with Arlene, and there were 4 of us, and across from Arlene was a man with a microphone. And it worked beautifully. It worked beautifully. There was just enough turn-taking in conversation. There was not a lot of background noise, and Arlene heard really well, where it might not have with just her hearing aids, it would not have been as easy.
Is another name used for it? Why have I not heard it?
Why have you not heard of the name Bluetooth? I'm not sure. Bluetooth really started again with cell phones and baby boomers, and their whole life became, what am I doing with this cell phone in my hand? And cell phone streams sound, that's the name they gave it, is Bluetooth. So if you, when we had to make a law because people were driving and talking on the phone, the Bluetooth is how now people could wear something ear level and be hands-free because the call went from the phone to their Bluetooth device. And so our hearing aid industry jumped right on that. Well, if somebody could walk around with, this thing in their ear, and that's cool for businessmen to receive calls, why isn't it cool to wear a hearing aid? This is ridiculous. This vanity aspect was taking us in the wrong direction, to hide the hearing aid so that nobody saw that you had this stigma was not working anymore. Again, young people have to work and hear, and mothers have to hear their children. The hearing loss is not just for retired people that are 77. So back to the demographic. In fact, right now, my whole get out of the doctor's office and into the community business plan is to reach 64-year-old women. The baby boomer woman has hearing loss. She's married. Her husband's got more hearing loss than she does, but he's in denial. Okay? So she meets me at the Y, where I offer free hearing screenings, because the statistics show it takes 7 to 10 years to go see your doctor and have a hearing test. 7 to 10 years. If you're suspicious, you put it off, you're a statistic we've been aware of for a long time. Okay? And then what happened in a doctor's office? I was with very world-renowned surgeons. People would have really serious things with their ears, and because it's a specialty, they'd have to wait to get in to see our wonderful surgeons. So I said, why do my people who've already been diagnosed with permanent progressive hearing loss, there's nothing more the doctor can do, they need my help with hearing aids, why do I need to be in a busy medical clinic competing with the time and space of a surgeon? I'm going to get out of the surgeon's way and into the community and reach people more directly. And so I give free hearing screenings to the Y, I educate you at the Y, I educate you here to try to lighten the load in the doctor's office, because I'm qualified to know whether you need a doctor or whether you need help with a hearing aid. And baby boomer women recognize what I'm doing, and they say, so they cry when I tell them that they have permanent progressive hearing loss from one too many Janis Joplin concerts or whatever it may have been. But they say, I want to hear. I want to hear my grandkids. I want to go to the theater. I'm not going to let this hearing loss stop me. I'm not going to be in denial. So we put on Sadie's latest, and they hear better in noise, and there's no turning back. Next thing you know, their husbands come to see me. Next thing you know, one of their parents, there's 4 of them, they're on their 2nd or 3rd pair, they may come to see me. Because again, it's not just, and it's not just noise either. I thought at first part of the education in going to the Y and reaching younger people was so that I could show them early on what a noise notch in their hearing looks like and why they should consider turning down their hearing. Well, I was completely naive and cannot believe the level and the severity of hearing loss I see in all ages of people who don't have the means to do anything about it. So, again, it brought me full circle. I got out of the medical environment and into the community, and now I'm in a community that needs more support. And so, with a CEO who thinks you complain about hearing, let's change that. Let's keep talking about the positive things that hearing aids have brought to your life, so that I can keep rallying how to get you good technology and good education at a reasonable price, because we're certainly no closer to hearing, yeah, you know, I thought, oh, Obamacare, you know, we're gonna have hearing aids addressed, you know, hearing, no. So we don't have to get into the politics of insurance right now, but you know that the reality is that most of you are on your own, and the price is significant, and maybe if we keep talking about having a progressive dispensary, we'll get one.